G'day guys, Shawnee from Life and Tennis. In today's video, I'll be providing an update on the Miami Open that's currently happening at the moment. So yeah, at the moment on the men's side, it's been a very interesting tournament. There were a lot of upsets in the opening couple of rounds with Alcaraz going down, Draper, Rune, Medvedev, Tsitsipas and Rublev all going out pretty early on, which is a bit of a shock, especially given that a few of these players are in great form, particularly Draper and Alcaraz. Or Draper obviously just won Indian Wells, so yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, Alcaraz, not that he's been playing badly, but it is a little bit of a surprise. I feel like he hasn't brought his best. He's been a bit inconsistent in when he brings his best and when he doesn't. Like he's had some great matches, in the following match, yeah, he sort of goes through that patch where he gets in a bit of trouble and then tries to go for glory, which is a bit of a story of his career so far. But again, it won't stop him probably from going in to Roland Garros and even Wimbledon as the favourite, or even most Masters 1000 tournaments. He's still always going to be one of the favourites. So, but yeah, just been a little bit patchy lately. A few Aussies did really well, particularly Adam Walton and Alex de Minaur, both making the fourth round. Unfortunately, both of those players are out, but a few other Aussies, had a few good first round wins as well. Nick Kyrgios was one of them who, had his first tour win in 896 days, which, to put that in perspective, that's the last win he had was in October of 2022. So that's quite remarkable that he hasn't had a tour win since then. But obviously he's been out and with injuries and a whole bunch of other things. So it's good that he could get a win against Mackenzie McDonald. And yeah, Novak looks as sharp as ever. He was very solid in his performance against Lorenzo Musetti. Although from watching the highlights, Musetti did look a little bit underdone at times, but yeah, Novak's movement he's certainly not slowing down at 37 years old. His movement's pretty remarkable for that age. So yeah, he still just continues to amaze and surpass expectations, basically. There's also been some classic matches. Probably the highlight for me has been the Luna Tien and João Fonseca match. That rivalry is already shaping up to be a classic rivalry. I mean, two quite contrasting players, two young guys. Fonseca obviously, such an aggressive player and just hits his forehand as hard as I've ever seen any player do on tour. And you're just a very exciting talent. And Luna Tien definitely just being a ball machine, a brick wall, just does not miss. Very smart, very strategic. So yeah, that's a rivalry to hopefully look forward to, many matches and head-to-heads in the years to come. And of course, there is the notable absence of Jannik Sinner. It's been funny actually not having Sinner in the last few tournaments. I've almost not noticed him in a strange way. I guess if he was there, you would assume he would be, making the final, if not potentially, winning the titles. But I still think it's given a lot of these other guys a good opportunity to step up to the plate and, have some good results. Particularly, Jack Draper is probably the standout of the last, couple of months in terms of his rise, and, he's continuing to just improve and just get better and better. So, it'd be very interesting to see what happens when Sinner comes back on tour for the French Open, and whether having that 3-month absence of not playing really any competitive tennis, how much of an impact that's going to have on his game and his results, and just even his mentality, his mindset, and all those types of things. As for who I would say is the favourite, hard to say. Zverev is still in; he's still the top seed, but Zverev, I don't believe he's won either Indian Wells or Miami. Like he does okay at the Sunshine Double. He's usually making fourth round quarterfinals, but yeah, for some reason he just, I don't know. There's always a player that's maybe a little bit more aggressive than him that tends to, come out and take the title. So I wouldn't say he's the favourite. My money probably at the moment is on Taylor Fritz, just because it's his, he's got the home crowd behind him. He's still playing some very good tennis, despite, maybe some saying he hasn't been in the best of form, but he's still pretty consistent, from tournament to tournament. He's still usually making fourth rounds, quarterfinals. For me, the dark horse or the smoky is Francisco Cerundolo. I think he's a very underrated player and very much improved player on the tour. he hits his forehand as hard as I've ever seen. I watched him play against Alex de Minaur. He lost to de Minaur at the Australian Open, but yeah, he was absolutely ripping that forehand. The backhand is just as equally as aggressive, and he surprised me by how good he is at the net as well. He has great hands, which surprised me a little bit for a South American player. You know, you sort of assume that South American players are more, you know, just kind of baseliner, counter-puncher style players. They grow up on, you know, playing on clay and things like that. But yeah, he's also able to come in, Sharundolo that is able to come in, close points off at the net. So yeah, he's definitely a dark horse to win in Miami. And of course, you know, you can never count out Novak. He's, as I said, he's looking as good as ever. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the rest of the tournament plays out. As for the women's, probably the most notable, you know, upset we saw was Mira Andreeva, you know, going down to America's Amanda Anisimova. Again, Anisimova, definitely a very talented player, but one that, you know, has just struggled over the years with form and injuries and things like that. And, you know, has a lot of promise, hasn't quite sort of delivered yet, but yeah, I think she's still a solid player. And, you know, Andreeva's just come off 2, you know, basically back-to-back WTA 1000 titles. So, you know, for a 17-year-old, that's an incredible effort. So in some respects, it's not necessarily a shock. It's more just based on her form. So yeah, I'm sure she'll bounce back in the next tournaments. As for who is still in the tournament, you know, you still got the top seeds in Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek, as well as a couple of other seeds, Jessica Pegula and Jasmine Paolini. So they're one of those 4 you would say are favourites. Definitely, you always say Sabalenka, one of Sabalenka or Swiatek is always, you know, going to be the favourite for you know, a WTA 1000 event or any event that they enter. And, you know, I think in the women's game, particularly, those 2 players are really shaping up as, you know, the 2 best players in the game. And there's not that there's a big gap for the rest of the tour. It's almost, they're almost becoming a little bit like Alcaraz and Sinner, but I reckon even more so than in the men's game. Because as I said, you know, in the men's game, you start to see a few other players kind of cropping up as like, you know, these are some real talents, you know, and guys to watch out for. Whereas on the women's, Andreeva is probably the only other one that's just started to emerge. Apart from that, you know, Sabalenka and Swiatek are still pretty much making semi-finals and finals quite regularly. So yeah, one of them, I suspect, will take out the title. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens next few rounds. So yeah, really excited to see how it plays out. But yeah, keen to hear what your thoughts are, as always, guys, who you think you know, is the favourite in the men's and the women's side, what matches you've really enjoyed watching, or, you know, highlights of if you watch tennis TV. And yeah, as always, guys, please like and subscribe for more life and tennis related content. Cheers, guys.